Hi everyone, this is Landeka Daimond, the founding principal of Westlake Primary School in Westlake. I'm also the National Deputy President for Education Management Association of South Africa. I'm very much involved in education at different levels. I also have some global interactions, engaging with other leaders in different countries to see that is it that we can do to collaborate and make things work at our institutions. This afternoon, I would like to share with you an approach that has been working very well for me, which is a solution-driven approach in managing COVID-19 at Westlake Primary School. I'd like to take you through our context. We are a school that is situated in a socio-economically deprived area, and we are separated by Polsmo Prison by a 1.8-meter wall. Our children have an issue of access. When they graduate from our school and they need to go to high school, the nearest school is about 800 meters away, but unfortunately they cannot afford it. It is a random school, and all my children cannot afford that. The next school, which is a closer speaking community, is about a 3-hour walk from the school, about 15 kilometers, which also becomes a challenge in terms of transporting them there. And for our Afrikaans home language speakers, we've got schools which are about 17 k's away, and it's about a 3.5-hour walk to get to those schools. So it is quite a bit of a challenge to ensure that post grade 7, when they graduate, they have access. Given that we don't actually limit our children, we maximize their opportunities. Hence, I'm saying that we always look at solutions rather than dwelling on challenges. We've got a type of child that we work with that we've got to holistically develop, which ties in well with our vision, and also ensure that the child is well fed and ready for the classroom before we can even look at curriculum delivery. Now, when we were faced with this challenge of COVID-19, we've done fairly well as a school for various reasons that I had to constantly be an inspiration and a source of support for the staff, and also have some regular reviews to enhance ongoing improvement as a school. The first thing that I actually prioritized was giving psychosocial support to everybody at the school, to the entire school family, even going beyond to our parents and the community, and allowing them to understand where they are as individuals in order to look at issues of self-care and also being mindful. I encourage everybody to be emotionally strong, because that is the skill that we needed to survive during this period. One thing that we did was strengthening relationship, because you cannot get through this on your own. You need to collaborate and make sure that we are moving forward as a team. And also what we had to do, once that was done, it was quite easy for us to achieve organizational goals. One thing that we had to foreground and take into cognizance is the vision of the school, navigating through the storm with the school's vision in mind. What we did as a team, I worked with the school governing body and the SMT initially in order to do policy amendments to embed COVID-19 SOPs and guidelines from national and provincial department to make sure that our school is COVID-19 compliant. We also had to tighten infrastructure and safety at the school to ensure that the environment is conducive for our children to learn. And what we did was to strengthen the child's mindset during lockdown, because I was constantly in touch with my children. During feeding times, we ensured that we give them activities for them to cope with the pandemic, and also to make sure that they are well fed throughout this period. When they came back to school, we treated them as if they don't know anything about the virus before we can actually teach the curriculum. They also had to understand why the coronavirus and why have things changed. Once we've stabilized that, we worked with their mindset, learner well-being, then only we looked at the issue of curriculum delivery. Obviously, we looked at the possibilities that were there, and we chose, and this meant that we're going to operate on a 50% capacity on site. This then meant that we need to prioritize ensuring that the children are going to be learning during the time that they are not at school. So we are working closely with our parents to make sure that they are monitoring the consolidation activities as we only introduce new curriculum at the school. So this means that we have to use adaptive leadership skills in the face of adversity, bouncing back to the pre-COVID status. but supporting the parents because they are not used to monitoring the children. What I would like to encourage everybody to do is to have psychological resilience. We need to protect ourselves because we cannot serve others if our cup is not full. And also make sure that we have a positive mindset and attitude, supporting ourselves and our teams and accepting the situation and allowing ourselves to find our destiny and not to drown in the situation. COVID-19 might have been a negative thing that we are dealing with, but it has some positives as well. It's an opportunity for us to build our teams because we have to work together and solve these particular challenges that are brought. We have to embrace change and focus on the positives. For instance, we are mastering the 4th industrial revolution skills now using blended learning, and this is something that the knowledge society demands. And we were not quite fast-tracking the process when it comes to pre-COVID period. This is an opportunity for the children to learn to independently. That's the skill that has been lacking as well. Some take-home ideas that you can take from my talk this afternoon. As we are navigating through the storm, we need to keep in mind the purpose of the school's existence, as we still need to realize the institutional vision with some adjustments, of course. We need to ensure that structure and monitoring protocols are in place and constantly contain the virus and minimize transmission, avoiding a possible second wave. We have to have a plan, but obviously we have to be flexible to adjust as the situation demands. Most importantly, we need to strike a balance between on-site and home curriculum, taking into account the non-digital context and learning, as most of our children do not have smartphones. So we have to make sure, how do we make sure that children are learning using the remote learning? Anxiety and uncertainty is very much normal. However, we need to be emotionally strong to deal with COVID-19 and not to be consumed by it. I want to draw on WCD values. There is a need for competent leadership and also caring for ourselves as leaders and the staff and the entire school community and the wider school community. We have to be accountable as leaders and as individuals first before we can actually deal with accountability in a team setup. And most importantly, there's a greater need for accountable leadership during this period. We strongly depend on individual integrity to manage the quarantine process and the trimmed curriculum. The need to be innovative cannot be overemphasized, as we are constantly foregrounding this in every band. One cannot predict what may happen. Every day is going to be different, but we constantly need to stay on top of the game to ensure that we are delivering and looking at the best interest of the child. I have just shared with you now a solution-driven approach that has made me to stay afloat and swim above the waters during this difficult period. I want to wish you all the best from me, the queen of everything and the social agent of change with the best interest of the child at heart. Enjoy your Teachers Month and continue to celebrate who you are. Thank you.